Good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is Glenn Tan speaking. This time, I'm continuing to talk about GNV, Remote Control and Building System. This presentation divides into these 6 parts. I have put the corresponding video linkages at the below description area just for your convenience. This slide displays how to do the wiring to control GNV, UMatch, rooftop, and water heater. The control interface is completely the same as the building system, so you can just follow that to do it. It's okay. As for the commissioning, also it is the same as previous. So for this part, we will skip. This slide displays how to do the wiring for the grid remote UDIMM. So from here you can find that this is the gateway, and this is the GNV system, and with the power meter, which means for this part is completely the same as previous. And for the connection to the UMatch or the rooftop, you need to apply another gateway. The model is the same, so what I mean, if you apply multi-gateway, you'd better use a router to connect to the PC. And then here is how to do the detail wiring. You can find it. This part is for the UMatch, and this is for the rooftop. I divided into the old model and new model. For the old model, either UMatch or the rooftop, they can combine together from the PCB. Then you can combine them together and connect to the gateway. As for the new model, you need to use this ME50, which is this device, as an adapter to translate the signal into the standard RS485. Then they can combine together, then connect to the gateway. Actually, for the UMatch and the rooftop, they are almost the same, so we can combine them together. And here is the limit for this requirement, either for the CAN2 or the RS485. It is the same as previous, which means it's better less than 500 meters. And this is for the wiring for UMatch and rooftop with the gateway. This slide displays the detailed wiring for the commercial water heater to connect to the gateway, also similar as the previous one. And for this part, it's the same for the GNV building system, the same. And this part is you need to use another gateway to connect to the water heater. Actually, for the water heater, it is the actual series, and when you connect to this controller, the output is already the standard RS485, so you can combine them together, then connect to the gateway. And next, we support 16 controllers. This is the detailed wiring at the gateway for remote UDIMM. Actually, I just take this example as for the UMatch and the rooftop for your reference. And the problem is this: we adopt the RS485, this one, and at this gateway, which is this one, here is the power, and number 2 is the RS485. We need to connect to this. And the next is to connect to the computer, also the same from this ETH0 port, then to the router, from router to the computer. And for one gateway, we can support up to 255 UMatch unit or the rooftop unit. And as for the water heater, it can support up to 16 water heater controller. And here I'd like to emphasize that as the protocol is not completely the same for the water heater, they should be applied or to separate from the UMatch and rooftop. For UMatch and rooftop, they can be one type, and for water heater, another they cannot combine together.
And here is the detail how to do the wiring from the in-dot unit PCB. And first is for the old model, and either for the duct tie, cassette tie, or the follow ceiling tie. And from this in-dot unit PCB, this two is the RS485 in or out. And for this two, and I already make offer you this part code for the wiring. So especially for the A terminal, which is for the socket, not that easy to find it on your local market. And also on the other hand, it is either the two pin wire just like this, or with a crystal plumb. As for the new model, and this time we need to apply an adapter, which is the ME50, and the ME50 already has the wire which is standard, so you can connect to here, this port. And then on the ME50, here there are 4 terminals, which is A plus, A minus, B plus, and B minus. So you can make it to be, for example, A plus and B plus as in, and A minus and B minus as out.
This slide displays how to identify the new or old U-match and the new and old rooftop, how to identify. Also, according to this table, you can find it whether it is old or new. With the old one, just directly connect is okay. For the new one, you need to apply this ME50.
And after the wiring, and here is you also need to do the setting on the wire controller. And for U-match, currently we have this 4 wire controller, which is the SK117. This is the basic one. You have all the functions. I make it listed here. And this is the SE70. Also, it has a Wi-Fi function. So you can find this Wi-Fi mark here. And this is the different. And also for this one, due to the certificate issue, not for all area. So you need to consult with your grid salesman for the detail. And as for the SK75, it is optional, but there is no infrared. Also, this is obsolete. We don't need to pay attention to this one. And this is the latest SE71. It has the multi-timers and also the cassette tie individual lower control. And this is the detail setting of the wire controller of SK117 and XE70. And just follow this password. You can change the address for different wire controller, which is for different in-dot unit. They should be different for the address. After that, you need to select the protocol and also follow this password. You can go to the mode 10. And from here, you need to make it this one to change it to bit 01, which is to make it to bit remote monitoring. And this is the setting of this two, which is SK75 and XE71. Also follow this to enter into this page. And at this page, you need to select which is made to make the address mode to be remote monitoring. And then also for different in-dot unit to arrange the different address.
This slide displays how to do the wiring and setting for water heater. And first is for the wiring, and also from the controller, which is this one. Here is connected to the outdoor unit or the heat pump, and this one this port is connected to the gateway BNS interface. And also here is the address setting. Just enter this parameter, so you need to change to bit different address if you have mounted water heater. Next, we are going to set the parameter of the gateway. First is connect from here, this ETH0, and on the PC at the browser, you need to input this IP address, this one. Then you can go to the parameter setting. As for the browser, we recommend the Google or the Firefox. Then you need to input the username and password. Then we go to this page. At this page, you can find that there are actually 4 steps. 1, 2, 3, 4. You need to do the setting. At the first step is this one. And at this is according to your actual wiring. You need to select which type of the outdoor unit you connected. This one, it is a multi-unit. That means the GMV, and we support water heater, UMatch, and rooftop. And for this 3, it apply the RS485. That means for this 3 is only to control, not for the building, not for power building. Then we go to the second page. At this page, you need to check or to change the IP address of this gateway. And here is for the IP address of this gateway. If there is only one gateway, please keep no change. If there are multi, you can change it to be different. For example, this to bit 151 is okay. As for this one, this gateway is for the network. Please keep no change. After that, we'll go to the third page to confirm or to the device information. This device is just the gateway, and here is the requirement for the device ID. They should not overlap, which means if there are multi gateways, change it to be different is okay. You can find that no overlap setting. At step 4, you need to check or to change the IP of the computer. Here is the server, means the computer, also means your PC, and here is the server's port. If you apply the GMV for the building system, is 6687. It is already in auto input only for convert. If you just would like to control or to connect to the UMatch, rooftop, or water heater, just input 668A. After that, please reset the power of the gateway.